Good evening. We're going to call to order the regular city council meeting, redevelopment meeting, and public housing authority meeting for Tuesday, May 24th. Tonight we'll have the invocation followed by the flag salute from students from Hawaiian Elementary School. So Sue, if you'll lead us in invocation, please.
Our most gracious Heavenly Father, I do thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. And first and foremost on our hearts is the fact that this weekend is Memorial Day, when we remember all of our young men and women in uniform, foreign and domestic. And we just ask that you keep a special blessing on all of them and all the families that stay home and wait stateside worrying about their loved ones. And Father, I thank you that they give of themselves so unselfishly to keep us free. And I thank you for all of the military that came before them, who gave us the ability to stand and pledge allegiance to our flag without fear of repercussion, and to be in a meeting like this without fear of repercussion. I thank you so much that they have been so willing over the years to stand firm for what they believe in. I also thank you for our council that can care about all of the young people in this community. And tonight we have a lot of young people here, and I just thank you that we do so much for them, and they are going to do so much for us as they grow older. Father, I just ask tonight that you let every word be sweet music to your ears, and let everything go according to your plan. And I thank you. Amen.
Amen. Okay, Hawaiian Elementary School.
Everyone, please stand. Put your right hand under your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very nice.
Thank you. Okay, can we have a roll call?
Director Martin? Here. Director Mahar?
Here.
Councilmember Director Farfan?
We asked that he be excused. He couldn't make it today.
Councilmember Director Rodriguez? Here. Councilmember Director Bruce?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chair Member Canada? Here. Mayor Chamber Gomez?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay. First thing up is presentations and proclamations. I believe I would just inform we have our boxing club here today that has a special presentation they want to make. So, Manu Nava.
I guess we have to push the button. Well, first off, thank you very much for, like I said, having us just walk in. We happen to have for the ones that are not present that don't know me, my name is Manuel Nava. I'm the Hawaiian Gardens boxing coach. I'm here standing with my right-hand man, Armando Valenzuela. We just came here just to, like I said, just to let you know of what is going on new with the boxing program, which we happen to take 3 individuals, our more elite kids, to an Oxnard State PAL tournament, which went on May 13th through the 15th. Out of all 3 of our boxers, like I said, we took Pablo Merced. He actually won 13 and 14, 110-pound open division championship. So if we can give him a round of applause for that. Non-present, we had Gustavo Hernandez that fought in the 13 and 14, 101 pounds that he's not present, but see if we can give him a round of applause, please. Last but not least, we got Eddie De La Huerta, which is a young man that has just started. We have 5 fights. He looked very impressive over there. He actually won his championship with the third round stoppage. And like I said, we were very proud of him, so if we can give him a big round of applause. And we actually closed the gym up to bring some of our other boxers that we have in the back that are working very hard. And like I said, everybody's working out hard, learning some new skills, staying in shape, and we're having a good time. And that's pretty much what I have to say, unless Mondo has maybe a couple of words.
Yeah, I also like to thank these kids for working real hard for this tournament. They really follow orders real good. That's why they did their job real great, outstanding. I'd like to thank the city council for providing these kids these opportunities to go out there and compete. I really want to thank you very much for that.
I'd like to thank the council meeting in Hawaiian Garden, and I'd like to thank two of my coaches, Manny Nava and Armando Valenzuela. And I'd like to give special thanks to my parents and my family.
All right.
First of all, I want to give thanks to the city council because we wouldn't be able to do it without them. And I would like to give thanks to both my trainers, Manny Nava and Armando Valenzuela. Couldn't be there without them either. And just thanks to my family for supporting me all the way, and we're going to keep doing it.
And at the same time, like I said, I'd like to thank each and every one of you also for the continuous support, and we'll just continue to keep these kids busy and see what happens next. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Thank you, man. It's great to see that you're turning out fine young men and not just pugilists. Thank you. Okay, the next presentation is a presentation of awards to the winners of the 27th Annual Fair Housing Poster Contest, Building a Stronger Community, by Maria Benitez of the Fair Housing Outreach Coordinator. Maria, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor and City Council, for having us. My name is Maria Benitez. I'm the Outreach Coordinator to the Fair Housing Foundation. What we are is we're a private nonprofit that educates and counsels on landlord-tenant rights and housing discrimination. Last month, the month of April is considered Fair Housing Month, and you generously proclaimed the month of April as Fair Housing Month by having a certificate proclamation handed to us. At the same time, the Fair Housing Foundation also has this poster contest that we do annually, where we send out invitations to all kinds of schools, organizations, YMCAs all over LA and Orange County, allowing the children to be a part of this celebration and to bring awareness to fair housing. And this year we had hundreds of submissions, and how it was all established was we collected the posters by grade level. We collected from each center, from each YMCA, and from each school that was turned into us. And after we voted, we had 7 because the poster contest is open to anyone from pre-K to 6th grade. So we collected 7 posters and we hang them up. And during our open house, we allowed our guests that came into our office to vote on these posters. And out of the posters, we had 3 grand prize winners. We never separated them by location, and it just happens to be that all 3 winners came from the city of Hawaiian Gardens. So, and to top it off, they all came from the Leeware Center. Again, our poster contest is not rigged, so it just happens to be that we have 3 great posters. So, as our first prize winner, we have Natalia Cruz. And she turned in this poster. Oh, everyone see? This is her first prize. And where's the big bag? And our first prize, grand prize, is a Wii system.
Wow.
There we go. Oh. One thing I should have mentioned is this year's theme was building a stronger community. So the posters were themed of what children believe building a stronger community is. So we asked them to draw a poster what they're influenced by. And as you can see, Natalia's poster has the police department, church, and people playing a police car. So what she believes building a stronger community is. So a grand applause for Natalia. And here's her certificate. Thank you. Our second prize winner is Jennifer Valadez, also from Leeward Center. And this is Jennifer's poster. And what brought to our attention, she made a rainbow. This is building a better place over and over again as a rainbow as well. That's for everyone. And our second prize winner is an iPod Nano. Thank you. And our third place winner is Jose Resendiz. Is that how you say that? Here you go. And he drew a building with different colored people in the same building, also a police car and an ambulance and helicopter.
Of course. He's a boy.
And our third prize winner wins a $50 gift certificate to Target. So once again, thank you so much to the mayor and city council for having us, to allowing us to be a part of the community. And we're always open to continue serving you and being a part of this great city. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And to all the parents out there who want their kids to get the opportunity to win next year, person in charge of Leeward Center, Sylvia Lucero, right there. Talk to her. Thank you. Okay. Moving on, we have a presentation by Hawaiian Elementary School in compliance with the city's donation policy.
Good evening. My name is Lori Cordova. I'm the principal at Hawaiian Elementary.
Okay, try again. Good evening. My name is Lori Cordova. I'm the principal at Hawaiian Elementary. That mic is still working, right? Because I would like for my students to actually talk from up there. What we would like to do is let you know the city has been generous enough to give us a donation towards our sixth grade science camp program. For actually, I've been at Hawaiian for, this is my 5th year, and from the first year that I've been there, this has been an ongoing thing. I don't know if we've ever given enough attention to letting you know the wonderful things that come from that contribution. We have some students here that would like to speak to you tonight. One of the things, when you donate the money to us, it does go into our scholarship fund. My 6th grade teachers do ask our students to commit to doing school service to earn that money, and they do some wonderful things for the rest of the students at our school, so we have a few of them to speak to that. We also kind of have a little video, hopefully you'll appreciate, to see how much joy our students get. I mean, in those few minutes, you're not going to be able to see all the education, the science education they get, but the joy they get from that experience. So I'm hoping that mic is good for them, yes? So they can be up on stage?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, it would be.
So, Alex, you're first. Introduce yourself.
Hi. Wait.
Turn it up, push it up a little bit if it's...
Hello. Hi, my name is Alex. I was able to go to camp this year. How I earned my way to camp is by doing the work studies. The work studies I had was working with little kindergarteners. I was able to pay half of what the money was, which was $220. I only paid $100 to go to camp. The kindergarteners that I work with were scared at first to ask questions, and they would just sit quietly and not do their work. But then I ended up being a role model to the little kids, and I felt proud to be able to save money for my parents, knowing how hard it is to save money. And my parents were proud of me too, and that made me happy. And I was able to learn at camp about science, about trees, plants, and animals, and how they adapt. And I learned it was fun and funny learning over there at camp.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Karen, and I had fun at camp. But before I could go to camp, my parents had to pay $220, so I could take off the money, at least $100. I went on something called work study, and I was assigned to a first grade class. I liked helping them. By the smiles on their faces, I realized two things: that I made new friends, and that I was actually helping and making a difference in their classrooms. Thank you to the City of Hawaiian Gardens for helping lower the cost of the trip, and thank you for letting us go to camp and have fun and learn this wonderful experience at camp.
Before we show our little snip of our camp video, I would like to introduce everybody from Hawaiian who's here. Mr. Swingle is here. He's one of our 6th grade teachers. Jasenia Zuniga, she's the one who led our Pledge of Allegiance. We have Jailene Quinones, and she's also part of our student council. And you already heard about how we've designed our work study program to make sure that, yes, it's a wonderful thing that you donate to our scholarship fund, but we always want our students to know that it's important to give back to the rest of the school. You've heard from Alex and Kieran. And I think our little camp video is ready to queue up. Yes, Mr. Swingle? Okay. Okay. That's just kind of just a little picture of what they do up at camp. You can see that this is actually from some of the past years that we've had. But I'm going to say, you know that our students in Hawaiian Gardens might never have an experience like this if it were not for your generosity. So thank you all so much.
I feel like I should also say thank you to you also. I've got to go, had the privilege of going each year, and it's a real special time. And you can ask any of the students who've gone, and it's they grow tight to one another, spending 24 hours a day with one another, eating meals with one another, just being out in nature and going for these hikes. It's a wonderful experience for them, and you can learn about science, and I try my best in the classroom with textbooks, and it's great, but there's nothing that compares with being out there on the trails and learning it from these naturalists. It's a great experience, and I hope it continues. So thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay. We're going to move on to oral communications. This is a time reserved for members of the public wishing to speak on items on and not on the agenda, except for public hearing items. This period will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Maximum time allocated is 15 minutes. Upon conclusion of oral communications, the the City Council and staff, I'm reading from the wrong page, of course. Let me get those words right, okay? Upon conclusion of oral communications, City Council or City staff, at the direction of the Mayor, may respond to any questions or statements that were presented by members of the public. The City Council is prohibited by law from discussing or taking any action on items presented during oral communications that are not on the agenda. So if anybody wishes to speak, please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, City Council, Mr. Marquez. I'm Gary Smuts, the Superintendent of the ABC School District. Before I give you the message I came to present tonight, I want to again thank you for your generosity over the years on behalf of the students that we share in our school district and in your community. And tonight's another example of the more than goodwill that you offer our students. You offer them a chance at an education they wouldn't get if you didn't do the great things that you did. So I appreciate that. And I know you're keeping up on some of the fantastic things we're doing throughout the school district, but what I'm here to plug is Walking for Reading. It used to be Running for Reading, but some circumstances have slowed me down a little bit, and it's Walking for Reading. And I want to point out that it's next Wednesday. I plan on starting a walk at 7:45 in the morning at Cerritos Elementary School, and I plan on walking to every school in the district on that day. It's about 22 miles, and what I have here tonight is sort of the instructions. And I've done Running for Reading before, and you know it's an attempt to highlight exercise of the mind through reading and exercise of the body by getting out and at one time running, but now walking. And I want students to consider that as a very serious message. We're starting early this year. I want to start before the end of the school year, start in June. It's a year-long campaign. In particular, I want the libraries in the various cities that we serve in ABC to get the libraries involved. So I'm going to make a visit to the library in Hawaiian Gardens and talk to the librarian there and ask her to participate in as many of the advertising possibilities that she can think of and that we can assist with. The PTAs are going to be involved. I'd like to work out some kind of scoring system so when students hand in the hours that they've read or parents hand in the hours they've read to younger children or grandparents, that we somehow are able to post those hours. My goal is for students to read 1 million hours outside of school. That's a lot of time. Research that I believe in shows that when students engage in voluntary reading outside of school, their vocabulary, their ability to read skyrockets. So the more time students read, the better their mind's going to be because they're exercising it. And I believe we should also get out there and exercise ourselves. So I'm going to try to show that. In the past, Mayor Gomez has joined us, Councilmember Farfan, when we ran throughout the probably half of the ABC community now. You can either join me by looking at the map in the schools that serve Hawaiian Gardens or the schools that serve Cerritos, Artesia, Hawaiian Gardens, Lakewood, a little bit of Norwalk, and a smidgen of Long Beach, East Lakewood. So Wednesday morning, if you want to look me up, or anybody in the community, the PTAs, some of them will be involved. 7:45, we start at Cerritos Elementary School. Here are the instructions, and I will be asking the librarian to promote reading over the summer as much as we can. We're going to do it again in September to kick it off for the school year, and then a year from next Wednesday, I'll do a final walk around the district to see if we reached our goal of 1 million hours. Thank you.
Okay. One question, Dr. Smuts. Do you have estimated times that you'll be in Hawaiian Gardens?
I don't. I thought about doing estimated times based on 3 miles an hour, but then I generally walk about 4 miles an hour. But if there's traffic lights in there, I don't know.
Okay.
And if I have to go to the bathroom or take a drink of water somewhere. So it's an estimate.
Okay.
And it's not a very straight course. As you can see, to cover all the schools, it looks like a worm got drunk and then walked all over the map and left a bunch of zigzags there. So that's the best I can do is give you the map and tell you I'll go as fast as I can.
Okay. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Nidia Mateos y me gustaría pedirle por favor al señor Bruce y al señor Reinaldo que cada vez que yo paso aquí no se rían, no tengo monos en la cara para que se estén riendo. Yo nada más quería preguntar, salió en el canal 11 un comentario acerca de que los council members ganan $40,000. No sé si pudieran dar la información de que es por mes o es por año o cada cuándo ganan ese dinero. Y dónde pudiéramos encontrar la información acerca de cuánto dinero gana cada quien, sus coberturas médicas o lo que sea, para que esté disponible al público. Porque a mí me hacen preguntas y a mí me gusta contestar lo que es la verdad. No me gusta andar inventando cosas. Así es de que, por favor, si nos pudieran dar la información donde podemos encontrar cuánto es su sueldo y todo eso para que si es verdad, sepan que es verdad, y si son rumores que nada más se están levantando, también se sepa que son nada más rumores y mentiras. Gracias.
My name is Nydia Mateos, and first of all, she wanted to direct herself to Councilmember Bruce and Councilmember Rodriguez and saying that every time she comes up to the podium that they laugh and that she doesn't want them to laugh, that she doesn't have fungus on her face. And the reason why she's here is because she had recently heard that the council members make $40,000, and she wanted to know, her questions were if that's on a monthly basis or annually, and she wants to know how she can find out information of what the council salary is. She also wants to know what the medical coverages are, and if how that's available to the public. Because people often ask her from the community, and they come and ask her questions, and she wants to be able to respond and tell them the truth. She wants to know what the council salary is and have that available, and she wants to know, because if it's true, she wants to let people know that that's true. If it's not and they're rumors, then she wants to be able to respond to people that that's what it is, that they're rumors, and that they're lies.
Okay.
Hello, Hawaiian Gardens City Council members. My name is Christine Delgado with the Hawaiian Gardens Youth Against Tobacco Use Coalition, as well as the Asian American Drug Abuse Program. We had a presentation last City Council meeting regarding preventing youth access to tobacco products, and we didn't have a chance for the youth to come up and speak. So I just want to give them the opportunity today from the Youth Activity League's perspective on why they support the tobacco retail license. So I would like to introduce Jorge and Arlene.
Greetings, Mayor and council members. My name is Jorge Machuca, and I live at 20853 Pioneer Boulevard in the city of Lakewood. I am with the YAL here to show my support for the tobacco retail license. I think it is important for the city of Hawaiian Gardens to adopt the TRL, which would prevent youth access to tobacco products. TRL would make it harder for youth to purchase tobacco products for youth. As we know, tobacco can be a gateway drug for other drugs. Please consider adopting the TRL in our city for the benefit of the youth in the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Arlene Hidalgo, and I live on 22311 and a half Joliet Avenue, Hawaiian Gardens, and I'm with the Hawaiian Gardens YL, and we're here to support the tobacco retail license. I believe that the city should adopt the tobacco retail license because it will reduce the minors' access to tobacco products, and statistics show that this license will be very effective. It is very important to prevent youth access to tobacco products because our community should be concerned with our youth's health. This license will make it very difficult for minors to buy tobacco products, and it's very dangerous if a minor gets their hands on a tobacco product because minors would get addicted to it much more quicker than an adult would. The city should really consider the tobacco resale license. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Hawaiian Gardens. How's everybody? How you guys doing today?
Good, Bob.
Yes and no, and right and left. Okay, my name is Robert Prida. I live at 12518 East 221st Street. Now, Mr. Mateo brought up a good thing about what you guys are making so much money, insurance, whatever. First of all, number one, this city and Cudahy are the lowest paid council people throughout the district. Throughout this district here. Between Bellflower, Lakewood, they get poco money. We get poco dinero. What you guys go through, people don't realize. You don't sit up there and look at everybody and say, I do this and that. You got to say yes or no for the right reasons. Some agree, some don't. That's just the way it is. But when people start getting on phones and saying this and this about you guys are making more money than what you should, they don't know what to say. Heck, they're talking about. I said, heck. What they're talking about. Number one, I'll tell you something. These past 10 years, I've been around for a long time. I put my foot in my mouth, and I'll be the first one to admit it. But if you see what's going on out in the streets, the Fairfield job, the new homes, the street improvements, look at some of the buildings look nice. I mean, what could you ask for? The newcomers are doing good. You guys are doing so far so good. I'm going to give you a question mark, Bruce. Especially you, Bruce, I'm giving you a question mark. Rodriguez, you got to learn from these other three. But I'm sorry, you don't like it tough. Somebody's got to tell you. But you know what the damn thing is? I got figures here, who's making more money and who less. And I'm not going to mention the figures. I'm going to ask all you individually, if you would please, from Mayor all the way down to Ronald, just tell us what you make so much on your insurance and everything else to clarify it, because a lot of people are misunderstanding that. Could you please do us a favor, not just only me, but Mr. Mateo and the rest of the people here, to explain what you guys are taking out as far as insurance and everything else, because that would really make a difference to a lot of people. And I thank you very much. No offense, Bruce or Ronald.
Okay. Seeing no one else, we'll close the public comments. And at this time, I'll ask any of the city council members that want to respond to anything that was said.
Yes, I'd like to respond to Mrs. Mateos. We were not laughing at her. We were laughing at the miles that Dr. Smut was going to walk, and he asked me if I thought I could make it, and that's what I was laughing at. As far as Mrs. Mateos wants to know how much money we make, she knows, because she works with you, with your grandkids, and she's at your house all the time, and I'm pretty sure you have told her, and she asked you how much you made. So why is she all of a sudden coming out that she wants to know? In fact, we have a comment coming up on that issue. Mr. Bruce is going to do that. Señora Mateos, yo no estaba riéndome de usted. Yo no sé que por qué usted está tan seguro, decir que no tiene seguridad usted. Nos estábamos riendo porque el doctor Smart dijo que iba a andar esas millas de la escuela. Y él me preguntó que si yo podía andar esas millas. Y por eso me estaba riendo.
No es la primera vez que lo hacen.
No comments.
Yo no sé qué es lo que tiene contra nosotros, pero usted sabe bien todo lo que está pasando aquí, porque usted todo el tiempo está con el council member Mike. Usted sabe el dinero que ganamos, porque usted ya le ha preguntado a él, ¿por qué no le preguntó a él? Él sabe todo. Él tiene todos los papeles que dice cuánto ganamos todos. De modo que usted nomás está haciendo aquí mucho ruido, nomás para ver que nos miren nosotros mal. Y desde que empezó, usted ha hecho eso. Y por eso es que yo no sé qué tiene contra nosotros. A usted, ¿qué le he hecho yo? Nada. Yo nunca le hice nada mal a usted. Pero usted siempre sigue. Y sigue usted porque está en ese grupito que está contra nosotros. Por eso usted sale con eso. Lo aconsejan a usted también por allá de lo que diga usted. Usted no sale sola lo que está diciendo. De modo es que siga. Usted tiene su derecho de hablar, pero también al mismo tiempo yo tengo derecho de corresponder. And Mr. Bob, now, you know, your wife was a city council member for how many terms? 2?
No, I beg your pardon, more than that.
One only. So,
Okay.
how many? How many? We're getting right now the exact money that your wife was getting when she was a city council member here. So, I know, you should know that maybe we are. Like I said, we've been looking at it. Me and Mr. Bruce been looking at the situation, and we kind of agree that maybe we are making too much, and we're willing to give up some, as long as, well, we're going to give up some regardless whether the rest of the city council agrees or not. I think we're going to give up some of our wages.
Is Christine Delgado still here? Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you again for your standing up for the tobacco resale license, and for the young people that you brought today, all three of you. You did an excellent job speaking. I'm very impressed with how articulate you are and how you're able to stand up for something you believe in. Once again, YAL, I appreciate your work and Malcolm's work with students. It's great. And I look forward to bringing this up as an agenda item in the future. As a matter of fact, is it an official agenda item for us to discuss that yet? Didn't we? Oh, we should agendize that for the next meeting. Okay. All right. Thank you. So staff is working on that right now. Thank you. And then in regards to our income, I got the delightful privilege of being interviewed on Channel 11 News. I was asked some questions that I answered as fairly and as honestly as I could. I was asked if I thought it was a fair amount that we made as city council members. And I said on the news that I felt that it was fair compensation. And so let me explain my remarks and the background on our paychecks. I'm a new council member, as well as Ray Rodriguez is. We're the newest kids on the block. And when we came in as city councilmen, we received a paycheck. And the amount of money that I received, I divided into the amount of hours that I was putting in. And that is why I was able to answer that I felt it was fair compensation. Now, when you heard the report on the Channel 11 News, all that money that they said we get is not money we take home, okay? And that's what happens oftentimes in reporting, is it's a little slanted and it leans a certain way so that they can accomplish their purpose, which is to cause a little controversy and bring a little sweat. And that's okay. I appreciate the media to a point. The media has caused lots of people to get honest, has caused lots of people to dig deep to find out what's really going on. And in this case, Channel 11 helped me out a little bit, because after I answered that question, I asked my staff to prepare for me a blow-by-blow documented source of our pay and how it's broken up, and how it would appear to the public, which anybody, by the way, can go to the city clerk and ask for the public records on our salaries, and you'll get them. So that's how you get them, by simply asking. All of the information that we have here is above board. It's all legal. Nothing has been done shady and underhanded as in the city of Bell. It's legal. It's all been made. The decisions for these amounts of pay have been made in a public forum, and they've been done in the correct way, as far as I understand from what I've looked at and what I've read and studied. However, as I see the breakdown myself, and as I see what the public would see as a breakdown, I see some things that are uncomfortable for me. And that has made me decide to ask staff to make this an agenda item for our next meeting. And so at the next meeting, we will address this in detail for the public. And so if you're interested, certainly come, and we will discuss this, this in detail. As for my statements that I made and for the statements that Mr. Rodriguez just made, I see 2 items on here of which I will be giving up because I don't agree with them. And again, although I felt the compensation that we took home was fair for the amount of work that we're doing, I don't think on paper it looks very good. And I want to be transparent. I want to make sure that this city, the public, can look at the things that we are doing here as a council, see it on paper, and not feel that anything is strange. And so that starts, of course, with us, because we are the leaders in this community. And so Mr. Rodriguez and I feel that way, and we do want to agendize that. And so we look forward to that at the next meeting. Thank you.
I'm going to make a comment on our salary. I was also interviewed by Channel 11, but they didn't choose to show it on TV. He asked me which one was I on the list of salaries that he had, and everything I told him was the truth. I am one of the lowest paying ones because I don't have health insurance through the city. I have been on council for 8 years, going on 12. And I have other means of health insurance. So, because the gentleman asked me, why do you not have health insurance? I have my husband's retired military health insurance. So, that is one of the reasons. He asked me if I felt that our salary was too high or too low. And I told him I thought it was just right for the work that we do and the time dedication that we give to the city. He also asked me about retirement because he asked me how long I have been on council. And retirement is not going to be that much. I don't think a person can live off of retirement. And so I told him, I says, yes, it will help a little. But the figure that was put out on Channel 11 that all of us make 44,000 is not true, because we all who are up here do not make 44,000 a year. So I just wanted to let the community know that, and whoever watched Channel 11, that all of us do not make the same amount of money up here. And some of us spend a lot of dedication, a lot of time. I attend as many conferences and as many meetings and that I am able to attend. I spend a lot of my free time giving back to this community. Thank you.
Okay, I guess to answer the question, we have things that we're paid for, such as we have a stipend. It's about $790 a month. We get extra money for being a redevelopment agency. We get a car allowance and allowance for phones and things like that. I do get, well, whoever serves as the mayor does receive an extra $150 a month. So, I do get that. But also, just like Mayor from Canada, the city does not pay for medical insurance for me and my family. We have our own, and so my pay isn't the 40,000 or whatever the amount that the news reporter stated we're making. Mine comes out to, we just added it up, according to the figures that we were given, $2,313.92 a month, which comes out to $27,766.08 a year, and that's including dental, vision, and the retirement and everything. That's everything that the city pays me. So that's how much I make. So you can decide if that's extravagant or not. I know it's not $100,000, which another city was being paid. Okay, that's all the comment I have on that. So with that, we're going to move forward to the Public Housing Authority meeting. Item A, public hearings are none. Consent calendar. Items listed on the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item may be removed from the consent calendar and will be considered separately. Does anybody wish to remove any of the items from the consent calendar? If not,
A motion to approve it in its entirety.
okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, we go to item C, discussion items, there are none. Closed session, none. Oral staff reports, none. Oral board reports, none. Okay, and if there's no objection, we'll adjourn the Public Housing Authority to the next regular scheduled meeting for Tuesday, June 28th at 6 p.m. And now we'll move to the regular city council meeting. Okay. We'll move to item A, public hearings. None. Item B, ordinances. There are none. Item C, consent calendar. Items listed on the consent calendar are considered routine and will be acted by one motion and one vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item may be removed from the consent calendar and will be considered separately. Anybody wishing to remove any items from the consent calendar?
Yes, I would like to pull item C2, C3, C6, and C10.
C10. That was 2, 3, 6, and 10?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Then I'll make a motion to approve the rest of the calendar in its entirety.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we'll go to item C2. Adopt resolution number 043-2011 to approve and award the professional engineering services agreement to Wilden Engineering for the federal aid Safe Route to School project at Petty Middle School, Ferguson Elementary, and Hawaiian Elementary School. Staff report.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, if you recall, the city was awarded a federal grant of $611,000 for the federal state Safe Route to School program that was applied for by Avant-Garde on behalf of the city. Back in December, the city had received one proposal for the procurement of design services, and the council had directed to basically re-advertise, and we did that. Back in February, we did solicit additional proposals. We did receive 4 of them, one being the Menegar and Associates, the second being Wildan Engineering, third being Civil Source, and the fourth KOA Corporation. The low bidder being Menegar and Associates of $61,763. They did not conform to the RFP requirements as they forgot to include some of the exhibits that was required as part of the RFP process. Therefore, staff is recommending that they not be considered, being that they did not meet the requirements of the RFP. The second bidder is Wildan Engineering for $82,686. Part of that amount would also be used not only for design services, but also for project management and inspection services. So the actual design cost of that, which is $41,331, is actually in line with what Caltrans had authorized, which was approximately $50,000. It was expected, though, that the low bidder did submit a letter of protest that was sent to the city. I believe it was sent to the city clerk's office, the city administrator, and possibly the city attorney. I have discussed this with the city attorney, and basically they are alleging that in the proposal format and content, it wasn't indicated clearly in there that these forms, these additional federal forms, were required to be submitted along with the RFP packet. I did meet with the gentleman and did indicate to him that in the actual RFP, not only were they supposed to have looked at the page 3 of 11, which is proposal format and content, in addition, page 9 of 11 did indicate that there were additional forms required per the Caltrans Local Assistance Procedure Manual, that forms related to disadvantaged business enterprise also be submitted, and all other consultants did submit those forms, and the low bidder was the only one that did not submit those forms. So based on that, staff is recommending to award the contract for design services, project management, and inspection services to Wildan Engineering for design services for Safe Route to School, which is for traffic calming devices at our 3 schools here in the city.
$20,000 difference between bids here seems like a lot of money to not to make an effort to work with the lowest bidder. I mean, if the paperwork was mistakes made or not entered, I mean, did you advise them to go ahead and, well, you did this and that, or you just say, well, forget it, you don't have it right, so therefore we're going to pay another $20,000 to Wildan. $20,000, we could do a lot. We could give 4 more school projects with that money. Is there anybody here from Vinegar? Can we ask questions? Can he come up and
Yes, you can. But if you do want to consider letting it to Vinegar, my recommendation is that you instead direct staff to rebid, because you need to consider that the other three of the 4 comply with all the requirements.
But normally, don't you? These bids they're closed bids, are they not?
Yeah, and also need to.
So now you got 4 open bids. So how are you going to address them from changing their bids?
Well, you can't. That's why when you basically rebid and they resubmit, it's up to them if they want to readjust their numbers or not. I think part of the issue is when you think about all of the bidders, 3 complied with all the requirements and 1 didn't. Now, I also need to remind the council that you don't let professional services and engineering contracts based on price alone. You have to look at qualifications first.
So are you making a statement that maybe this company is not qualified?
No, all I'm saying is that they didn't comply with all of the requirements, and if the issue is that perhaps we can get a better bid, then we should rebid it, because if you're going to make one exception, I think all 4 bidders need to have the same opportunity.
Because I don't like the problem in the future where something like this could happen and they can come and turn around and sue the city because of statements like these. I mean, I don't know whether they filled out the paperwork wrong or right or whatever it is, but if you're pretty sure that these people here are not going to come back and sue us because of this paperwork problems, is it an issue that really stops them from getting the low bid?
Well, I'm pretty sure I can tell you state law does not require that this be led to the lowest bidder.
Well,
in fact, state law requires the opposite, that we let the contract first on qualifications.
But my requirement is to save $20,000.
Correct. And
like I said, we can give that money to our schools or to our Little League or whatever. It's just that's $5,000 for 4 teams or 4 schools. Because of maybe some paper issues here. So I don't think we should we should approve this. I think we ought to re-agendize it for the next meeting and have the Vinegar and Associates come and give us a presentation of, or unless they just or let everybody rebid.
If I may add, Mr. Mayor, if the council is interested in rebidding the project, that's something that the council can consider. Being that we're on a short timeline, we would just re-advertise this again, because I have met with the engineering firm, and they did admit that their staff did omit the required paperwork. Their issue is that, well, it didn't say that on page 3. And we indicated, well, it does say it on page 9. So without a question, those forms were required as I previously stated. So if the council wants to weigh in other options, then as everything that Omar, our city attorney, has stated is accurate, they can re-advertise. And I did check with our consultant, and we we'd be able to make the deadline and possibly send that out for another 30 days, 45-day rebidding.
Yeah,
We have a gentleman over there raising his hand. Does he, maybe he wants...
Yes, we can't hear testimony if the council wishes to hear testimony. I just want to point out that it's also a fairness issue for the other three bidders that participated. If you want to consider the 61,000, you might as well ask the other three bidders if they are willing to lower their prices. And by rebidding, you're giving them that opportunity as well as giving the opportunity for Minigard and Associates to raise
Why don't we
theirs.
listen to I guess the firm Minigar and see what he has to say, and then maybe we can make the decision whether to go ahead and approve what we got now or re-agendize it.
I don't know if that would be fair to the other three bidders, if they're not here to be able to speak as well.
Well,
They may be here.
Are you? Who's here?
Winigar, I guess.
And Wilden's here? You want to hear from both Wilden and Minigar? Okay, fine with me. Okay, Minigar, you up here?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. My name is Fred Minigar. I'm President of Minigar and Associates, Inc. in Irvine. I would like to speak on the resolution with regard to item C2. Before I do so, I just wanted to provide you with my background. For 15 years, I've been appointed as chairman or vice chairman of the Planning Commission for my home city, Laguna Niguel in South Orange County, and I'm very familiar with the process. I also serve as the official city traffic engineer for the city of South Pasadena. Changing my hat, I do a lot of technical auditing for Los Angeles County MTA Metro, and I serve as the expert witness on a lot of legal cases for the state of California, i.e. Caltrans in court system. Having said all of that, with all due respect to my good friends at Wildan, Wildan is a very reputable company. The issue is not lack of qualification for this item, for this project. The issue is that I met with Mr. Colombo, and he was very generous to allocate some time to go over the whole thing. The issue is the procurement. I reviewed the whole thing with our legal counsel, and it was a unanimous vote by the firm in Irvine that, based upon the federal requirement under page 3 of the RFP document, it specifically and explicitly uses the term shall, and we have complied with all the 6 items in that document. This morning I talked to Ms. Mary Johnson, who's the civil rights liaison for the state of California in Sacramento, and after talking to all of them, they all said that you as a city, you as a municipal corporation in the state of California, has the authority to finalize a decision on the determination of to whom this contract should be awarded. I have no issues if the firm of Wildan would be awarded this contract. They're highly qualified. We compete respectfully, and as I said, I have no issues that they cannot do the job. They can do a very good job. However, as a matter of technicality, I underline that it is extremely unfair at this juncture, number one, to re-advertise. You want to save the city's money, resources, by not going through this process again, and I'm pretty sure Mr. Colombo is going to be concurring with that statement. So, in conclusion, what I'm requesting from the city respectfully is that we have conformed with all the requirements as it was stipulated on pages 3 and 4, not page 9. Any federal document. We won the same contract for the city of Coachella. We're doing the same thing for the city of Burbank. We're doing projects for Caltrans District 10 under the same program. They all had specifically itemized the elements of federal forms. Federal forms are a bunch of forms that we had prepared, except my proposal manager, she did not submit them because of the 20-some page limitation in the RFP. So if we did not include it, it was not an oversight. It was a matter of protocol that it was not required on pages 3 and 4, using the term shall. So in short, We complied and conformed, and these are the forms. The forms were faxed to Mr. Colombo on May 5th, and these are for your review, if I may. And as you mentioned, that difference in budget could be used for other activities for the dire needs of your school district system. So we are willing to do the same project as the lowest bidder. And you mentioned that, yes, I agree, because we do a lot of other projects that we win based on technical merit. They never open the envelope for the cost. You're absolutely correct on that. This is under A&E requirements of the state of California, which is the same as federal. So in short, the only thing we are requesting from the city council is that we think that we have complied, and it was a matter of technicality. And I talked to Mr. Kirk Cessna, who's the local assistance program manager for Caltrans District 7 in Los Angeles this morning too. He concluded that it's a matter of technicality with the city of Hawaiian Gardens. I asked him if Caltrans is going to be involved. He said that the auditing arm of Caltrans in headquarters, Civil Rights Division, and also FHWA Division in San Francisco are not going to be involved unless I make the request to do so. And at this juncture, I'm not planning to pursue that because we love to have the honor and the privilege of working for your dynamic city. At the end, we want to provide highly technical services for your school district, for the citizens of Hawaiian Gardens. At the end, what are you going to be getting? You're going to be getting $20,000 of budget savings. In light of what's going on in the state of California, what Governor Jerry Brown is advocating, is preaching that we want to save money, 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 we're offering that to your dynamic city. At the end, it is your discretion. I'm very familiar with the protocol. It's your call to make a motion and approve or disapprove that without going to a rebidding process or any other avenues that may be available to all the parties, to be fair and also to make it equitable.
Thank you. All right, thank you. That's it. We hear from Will Dan.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Adela Frage, and I'm with Wildan Engineering. We have no dispute. I just want to remind the Council that this job is federally funded, and as the City Attorney just mentioned, that this project should be awarded based on qualifications, not really on fee, and that the design fees and the project management and the construction inspection will be all funded by the federal funds. So this whole project, including construction, will be funded by the Safe Route to School funds, which are federal funds. As far as the low bidder or Menigar Associate, they did not comply with the city's RFP. So technically, their proposal should be really rated as non-responsive. This project could be audited in the future by the Fed, and if the Fed go through the audit process and find out that these documents were not submitted as part of the proposal, and they were submitted as a later date, you could jeopardize the $600,000 that you're getting from the Fed for this project. And with that, I'm going to leave that up to the council to make a decision on that. That's what I have.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Before we go on, is there anybody here from the other two companies? Engineering organizations, Civil Source or KOA? No?
I'd just like to make one more comment. Everybody always says this is grant money. But grant money comes from taxpayers' money. It comes from us. We pay into those grants. And everybody seems to have the conception that this is free money. We're going to get it. But somebody contributed to that. So everybody that goes to the market, everybody that buys a car, they contribute to these funds. So they keep making the comment, this is grant money, it doesn't going to cost us anything. It does cost us a lot. I would like to make sure that this process is legal. and I would like to re-agendize it and find out for sure what is it legal or is it not legal? Is it? I don't want to vote on something like this because I'm not sure. So I would like to re-agendize it.
Yeah, the only concern I would have, not in re-agendizing, is in taking action today to let to Minigar is, I don't know if that technical mistake, so to speak, could jeopardize the grant funding. I have been involved in other jurisdictions where they didn't follow, to a T, and the federal government is looking for ways not to spend money, and actually denied the request, because normally the way the funding works in most of these fundings is that you spend the money first and then you submit for reimbursement. And in this other jurisdiction where they submitted for reimbursement, they did the audit and they found that they didn't follow every program guideline and denied the request for reimbursement. Joe, is this a reimbursement type project? Yeah, see, most of these projects are reimbursable. So you have to spend the money and then you submit for reimbursement. So it is a good idea if the council is still interested in considering the lower bid.
Well,
it would be better if we re-agendize it and we double check with the funding source or funding agency and make sure that the technicality is not going to cause problems for us in the future.
Well, according to Mr. Minigar, the technicality that you guys are they're talking about is not really technicality according to the state of California.
Yeah, these are federal funds, and
but I'm pretty sure
he wants a contract.
Well, of course,
and he's going to get paid, and we're going to submit for reimbursement after he's paid and gone. So I much rather make sure before we enter into the contract that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's.
Well, the only way.
This is why I recommended re-advertising, because that way we start the process from scratch, and we make sure that we're following the process. If we're not going to re-advertise, if the council is not considering that, then we should at least hold it out for 2 weeks, and we'll make sure that it's okay with the funding source to waive the irregularity. We can couch it as an irregularity and see if we can move forward.
Well, I don't have any problem with you checking that out. That's just being safe. But I think we should also check out the wording in the way we present something for an RFP, because if it's not clear language, and what Mr. Minigar is saying is that it isn't clear language, that he complied with the areas that said shall do this, but the other areas were not so clear. I think we should look at it, and you take a good look at it and make sure that it is very, very clear, because this is going to be a reoccurring problem in the future. And it's kind of an unfair advantage for somebody like Wilden, who has done many RFPs here before, and somebody like Minigar, who hasn't. They might be clear with some of the irregularities in our statements, and they might go, oh, well, we better include that one because we know how that works. But somebody else might not. So I just want to make sure that we have a very clear statement. It makes complete sense. If there should be the word shall there, then we should put it there. And so that's my biggest concern, so that everybody has equal opportunity, and it's so clear that nobody can make these kind of mistakes. And, it's amazing, the difference here, $20,000. You can do a lot with that. I understand the legal aspect of it and jeopardizing the possible monies that we would get. So after checking out all this information, if you come back and you decide, it wasn't very clear, then I think we should probably put the whole thing up for another bid again, so that everyone has a fair shot at it again, but with clear language. So that's my biggest concern, is the language of our side of the deal.
Any comment, Michi? No. Well, my only concern is, it's a couple of them. Number one, there were four organizations that supplied bids, and 3 of the 4 did understand the bids and did put all the proper forms in there and did comply properly. And this is a common thing. We do RFPs all the time, and it's always we're always giving the contract to lowest responsive bidder, the one who complies with all the requirements that we ask for, specific for the reason that the city attorney said that we follow the law to the T and make sure that we give it to the bidder who is not necessarily most qualified, but who complies and does everything that is required in the bid. You know, that I think that's really important, that we make sure that we keep that line going, because if we start saying we're going to give a bid to the lowest bidder, you know, who knows who we could give it to next. You know, we could have somebody come in and bid way under and not be qualified, but we're going to give it to them because they're the lowest bidder, and we think we're going to save money, when in reality we end up not saving money because the project may be done illegally or improperly, and as I said, we end up not getting funded. So I think this is really a slippery slope we're talking about here. So we need to really be careful how we decide, and I think you know, obviously. There's a feeling here of wanting to move this back to the next meeting to have it checked with the organization who provides the funds. So maybe that's the best thing we do, is get that cleared up first, and then we can deal with the other issue of what's going to be our policy going forward.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I'm being advised that from our consultant who prepared for the grant that Caltrans is basically going to say it's up to the city council whether you waive this requirement or not. Also, let me add further that these consultants do these type of biddings, respond to these type of RFPs all the time, especially the federal grants, where these type of forms are required for all federal grants. So they all knew that these type of forms are being requested as part of the RFP package, regardless what type of project you're doing. These are forms that are mandated, and it clearly states here, and I'll read verbatim, per the Caltrans Local Assistance Procedures Manual, the proposing consultants are requested to complete the following forms and return them with the proposal. So it's clearly in the RFP that the exhibits were to be attached as part of the RFP process. So I don't have a problem going back and allowing our city attorney to look at this, but they're going to respond that it's a waiver that the council would have to consider or not, or you have the option of going out to bid, rebidding it. However, just to be cautious that if you do go out to bid, it could also come out that the numbers will change, and the $61,000 will no longer be $61,000. It can be now $75,000. So you don't know what the numbers are going to come out when you rebid this. You know what they are today. So there's no guarantee to know what's going to happen when you rebid this.
I think that these firms would be kind of dumb to raise their bids. In fact, if anything, they'll lower them down because now they know that there is a firm that is willing to go all the way down to 61,000. So I don't see the argument there. I also would like to make the comment that up until last year, there wasn't very many RFPs going out. That was one of my biggest concerns, and I brought that up many a times, and now we're bringing them. Now they're coming out, and we're finding some little issues like this, and eventually we'll take care of them. So I vote either to re-agendize it, first of all, and then make a decision between now and the next 2 weeks whether we want to send out for proposal again, or make sure that we're legal also on the part of Mr. Miniger and Associates. So that's where I stand, and that's where I'll I'm going to vote not to approve this, to re-agendize it.
Yeah, given that our consultant with the grant funding is indicating that it's up to the city council, then I don't have that concern anymore. And given that Mr. Colombo read the requirement, I think that was pretty clear that the forms were required. So I don't know how we can make that any better.
All right, well, let's go for rebids.
And how much does that cost?
Well, basically, it's just, we'll try to rebid this again for 30, 45 days, and the cost of re-advertising it in the Long Beach Press-Telegram, maybe $750. It can be done, but it's the council's discretion. That you have more than one option. But I can assure you that the RFP in itself is very clearly written, as I read into the record, and all 4 consultants were well aware that those forms were required. 3 of them submitted it, 1 didn't. It was just an honest mistake. And we do have a professional consultant that prepared this for us, and we're being advised what's going to happen. I ran this through the city attorney beforehand. I've communicated with the city attorney on this issue beforehand. So it's really up to the council what your desire is.
Well, I agree with rebidding based just on the large spread of numbers here. We have a $20,000 difference on both sides, plus. If we can spend $700 and get the bids down lower, then that is just sensible to me. There's $20,000 on both sides. You have Wilden at 82, and then you have the next choice is 106 and 130 and 61. It seems to me like these are such a big fluctuation here that maybe people can lower their bids down to a more reasonable place. I mean, we may end up going with Wilden anyway, but maybe the bid will be more reasonable. So I'd be in favor of rebidding them or sending out RFPs again for $700.
Well, considering that we already have, obviously there's only 4 of us here, two of our have stated what their feelings are. I don't think we're going to be able to resolve anything tonight. So, again, I just want to caution that it's a slippery slope to start changing receiving bids, and change it in the middle of the game. All these companies do these bids all the time. They know the process. If you're not responsive, that's your fault. That's not our staff's fault for the way the RFP was written. And so it's just not, I'm not comfortable, but it looks like we're going to have to go with the option. That's the only option available, I think, right now, is to go ahead and rebid.
Just let me make my statement clear. Correct me if I'm wrong, Omar, but if we send out RFPs, we get back 4 bids, and we look at them and say, geez, those are really high, I think we'll send it out again. We can do that, right?
Yes, but eventually the deadline for doing the project will pass, and we won't have the funding.
But right now, the deadline's not that great of an issue. If we can, we can do it. I'm just saying I'm looking at a $20,000 plus fluctuation here in price, and I just think, like you said, we can fund 4 schools for that. Or we can do 4 more houses at $5,000 grants. I mean, there's a lot you can do with $20,000, and if the fluctuation is that great, then maybe we should send out RFPs again just for that. Forget them not submitting correctly and everything. Let's just look at the prices. That's what I'm looking at. And I'm just thinking if there was only like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 difference, then I would say, well, they blew it, But in this case, there's a big difference. So that's That's my biggest argument, is just let's save as much money as we can. We have time to send out RFPs again. Let's do it. Let Miniger go ahead and shoot at it again, Wilden, Civil Source, KOA, and see if we can get a better price. And maybe somebody else will come in with a fifth, and they'll be better than everybody. So that's why.
Okay, with that then, do we need to may have a motion or just consensus to rebid?
Well, you just don't take any action on this one, consensus to rebid, and then we'll just get it done. Unless there's a alternate motion on the floor. I don't see any motion, so you're just not taking action,
Has not been.
and we'll just rebid.
Okay.
Okay?
So, City Attorney, the direction then is to rebid then?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Item C3, adopt resolution number 044-2011 to approve and award a professional traffic engineering and design services contract to KOA Corporation for traffic signal upgrade of Norwalk Boulevard and 223rd Street in the city of Hawaiian Gardens. Staff report.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, City Council directed staff to look into some traffic calming options at the corner of 223rd and Norwalk Boulevard. We did send out RFPs to 4 qualified consulting firms. We did get 2 of them back, KOA for $96.60 and Wildan Engineering $14,000. Staff is recommending that you award the engineering contract to KOA. This is just for design services.
Did you have the bids listed in here?
Yes, it's on page 12.
Page 12. This is to analyze the traffic signals on Norwalk Boulevard.
Just the one at 223rd Street, though.
Oh, just one?
That whole intersection, yes.
Was it the one where we're having a lot of accidents?
Yeah. This was at the council direction to do an RFP.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Can I just ask a question? This might be lame or whatever, but they're going to come out basically and determine whether or not we need a signal or what we need, right, for the problem?
The signal's there. They're going to look at traffic counts. They're going to look at your traffic, your car accident, your 3-year history. They're going to look at your traffic markings. They're going to look at the bulkheads, pedestrian bulkheads, walk, don't walk. They're going to look at that whole intersection and then come up with the recommendation and come up with the actual design, because this has to be done by a certified traffic engineer.
Okay,
so we're not allowed to just go and make changes without. This is basically considered a capital improvement project, and it does have to have the blessing of a traffic engineer. And because it is a public works project, you have to go through the whole RFP process. Again, this whole process is all governed by government codes.
Yeah, I was just saying the price seems high, but it's required by law that you have a certified person.
I advertised it in the paper, and then we always follow up with sending it to some known traffic consultant firms in the area, and only 2 of them came back.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we have a motion.
A motion to approve.
Second it.
A motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item C6, adopt resolution number 047-2011 to approve the exchange of Proposition A funds for fiscal year 2011 to 2012 between the City of Hawaiian Gardens and the City of La Habra Heights. Staff report.
Honorable Mayor, member of City Council, we received an inquiry from the City of La Habra Heights asking if we are interested in purchase their Prop A fund, which is a restricted fund for transportation or street projects. And the year before, we purchased $360,000 from City of West Covina, and we used the fund for our transportation program the year before. And this time, we received this offer, and we offer at 75% of $1 to purchase that, which will be a saving of $21,900. Excuse me, $21,450.
Today I got an amendment to this resolution that the city of La Habra Heights had already agreed and signed off on the 12th day of May 2011. Did we already agree on this, or did this is just them?
This isn't valid unless you guys agree. And the item is before you today for your consideration.
City of La Habra Heights City Council approved this, and our City Council needs to approve this. When both council approved it, it's a contract.
Move to approve. I have no further questions.
Second. All right, motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item C10, Community Development Department, City Engineering Division monthly report for engineering for March 2011.
I have a question on page 135. The NPDS, for some reason, it just keeps coming up, and every time I look at it, I get confused. It says received a new proposal from Charles Abbott and is being evaluated for award to the Community Development Director. What are we awarding Charles Abbott?
If you recall, when council directed staff to cancel the contract with Charles Abbott and Associates, that was just for building and safety. I had indicated that we would still maintain the contract for NPDS services with Charles Abbott and Associates, and we may or may not seek other competitive services. Their contract is up. We did seek a proposal from our in-house engineering firm, and they're not able to perform those services in its entirety because part of the NPDS contract requires annual inspections of various land use categories. So they're not able to do that. They're just able to do a portion of it. I haven't approved anything at this point. They did submit a proposal. We did meet with them. There was a concern in-house regarding an issue with having to keep staff informed of certain events or activities that occur out there. We met with the representative of Charles Abbott Associates, myself, and the city engineer, and for the most part, they have complied within their scope of services of their contract in providing reports and attending certain events and providing training and conducting inspections of the various land uses and reporting any sewer system overflows. There was a concern regarding keeping staff informed of what's going on in general with NPDS. It's one of those things that we don't like doing it, but we have to do it because it's a federal requirement. And they've kept us in check with the federal government. We haven't had any issues or audit issues. All the reports have been done timely. So they did submit they are submitting a new proposal, and they've indicated that their proposal is going to be cheaper than the previous proposal that they submitted.
But shouldn't it go out for bid also?
I did get informal bids if you wanted to go through, informally, if you wanted to go through formal bid because it is engineering services, because it's a current contract, we can.
What is the, how much are we paying them right now? Do you know, David?
I think it's a $40,000 or $45,000 contract. I don't recall the exact dollar amount, but they were going to bring it down in the 30s.
But by law, actually, we're supposed to send it out for bids, is it not?
No, by law, we're not required to send that out to bid because it is a professional engineering company, and the government code does not require that we go out to bid. And if the bid amount comes under the city administrator's level, then the city administrator is authorized to sign.
Well, shouldn't it
So
be
I
the city council?
don't have a problem going to bid if that's the direction you want to give us, though.
This contract has been going on, and every time I asked about it, he said it's going to end, but it never ends. It just keeps going on. You keep giving it to the same firm without going out to bid. What's happening to our transparency?
We have gone out to bid when we initially engaged the services of Charles Abbott and Associates. All contracts.
That was about how many years ago?
When we first engaged with Charles Abbott, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago. And then on a renewal basis, it's renewed as well.
I would like to ask David to maybe tomorrow give me a copy of how much we have paid Wildan this last fiscal year.
You mean
Charles Abbott?
I'm sorry, Wildan. It's over there. Charles Abbott.
Do you have any idea, David, how much we've spent with
Is there an interest on council's behalf for us to go out to bid for this service?
Well, I'd like to know exactly how much we're paying this firm, first of all. And, we should be fair for everybody, for every contract. Let's just choose whatever staff wants to hire.
If it makes the council feel comfortable, we don't have a problem going out to bid. So I have a feeling it's probably around 40,000 or something like that. But we can go out to bid; it's not an issue.
Okay. No other questions? Okay, we have a motion to receive and file.
So we're going to go out to rebid on this? Is that
The easiest thing is to just go out to bid because, time is of the essence. Their contract's about to expire, and if we have to go back and forth and put it on the agenda, and Mr. Councilmember Ronaldo would like to know what we've spent on this contract, and that information is readily available to him tomorrow morning. But if it makes the council feel any better, I don't have a problem going out to bid for the whole contract. I attempted to do that at the direction of the city administrator, and we, did ask Wilden to provide that service. I wanted to see if we would get a cheaper rate, and it wasn't, and it was also not inclusive. So the service is provided by Charles Abbott and Associates. It's been good service. It's a total separate division from the building division that they operate. It's a whole different unit. For the most part, we've gotten good service. There's been at times that we haven't been up to date on certain issues, but we have come up with a game plan, if you will, on how to keep staff up to date with some events by providing monthly reports and quarterly or semi-annually providing reports here at the council meeting. So that's a very minor issue. But at the same time, staff doesn't have a problem going, we'll have to draft the whole RFP and go out to bid. To do that, that'll take some time. And we could do that. And at the same time, we can provide Councilmember Ronaldo how much we have paid Charles Abbott and Associates for their services.
Well, us humans and companies and so, they have a tendency when they have this contracts on all the time, when they already know they're going to get it, they get lazy. If you wake them up once in a while, we get better work and stuff like that. So that's one of the things that I like to see. I like to see these companies make sure that, they stay awake.
Okay. Do we have direction on that?
Yes.
Okay. We'll move forward. Item D. I'm sorry. Discussion items. Consideration of request for a monetary donation from Hawaiian Elementary School for a 6th grade science camp. And I forgot this was on the agenda. I would have moved it up while they were still here, unfortunately, but we have before us the paperwork. So we saw.
I'd just move that we approve this.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. For the 5,000?
Yes.
Correct. Item D2, consideration of an appeal of the City Beautification Project Committee's recommendations to deny rehabilitation assistance under the Community Development Block Grant Program for the property located at 12250 Carson Street, space number 55.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, this item was on the last agenda item for your consideration regarding an appeal on a mobile home CDBG grant. The Beautification Committee, composed of 2 council members and 2 staff, had recommended that the issue here was the roof, that rather than it being replaced in its entirety, that it basically be repaired. Staff did visit the site and did obtain 3 bids, and as indicated in the staff report, because of the timing, we couldn't include the actual bids as part of the report. As these bids have been trickling in slowly, but we as anticipated, we have been told by the contractors that the structural integrity is not being compromised and it can be repaired. We do have 3 bids, one for $2,946, one is for $4,495, and I believe we have one for $3,000. There's been some other issues, though, that have come up since then. We had discovered that the registration on this unit is not in the applicant's name as of yet, being that they still owe money to the previous owner, and that needs to be taken care of. Also, as you know, the program is designed for low-income families and to address rehabilitation of or remodel of their homes. And we had discovered that there may be additional sources of income that hadn't been disclosed to staff. We're not exactly sure how much are we talking about. It could be as little as $100, as much as any amount, but basically you are required to disclose all sources of income. There's an affidavit on file indicating that they have, and the fact of the matter is that they haven't. Those could be grounds for disqualification from the program. If the council still wishes to continue, being that we really don't know what other sources of income they have, staff would still stand by the original recommendation, which is to repair the roof. There's a water heater that needs repair as well. The flooring on the water heater. There's some ceiling damage. There's some subfloor damage. So basically, it's an emergency rehab program. It was meant to basically stabilize the problem there, not to get a brand new roof system out of it. We're being told by the contractors that it can be repaired, and we have the estimates for it. All the money will basically be utilized for it, pretty much. They're eligible up to $3,000 if that's the direction of the council. And then they're still on the waiting list. So when their turn does come up, they're eligible for the other $2,000 if they so choose to do other repairs that may be needed. That concludes the staff report.
All right, thank you.
So you're saying that she failed to disclose the other income?
Yes, and we're not sure exactly how much money we're talking about. We did meet with the applicant. We did confront her regarding the website that we did find, which is roseatkin.com. It just coincidentally, somebody had done business here internally, and then we did confirm the website. She did indicate that she is doing some stuff on the side, but as indicated, this is a federally funded program. You have to be low income. You must disclose all sources of income regardless of what it is. That was not disclosed. They signed an affidavit that they did. And they may not make as much. I don't know. And we'll never know. There's no tax returns. We can only go by whatever statement the applicant may make. But we went by on a good faith system, and that's why we have forms and affidavits and et cetera. So that's pretty much where that stands.
What kind of work does she do, and what does the website state?
It's your RV or boat is your ticket to outdoor recreation. You want it to be in top condition, but you don't want to pay the dealership or repair shop an arm and leg to maintain your investment. So it's electrical, HVAC, plumbing, leveling systems, mobile electronics, cameras, GPS, and she indicated she didn't know that this website existed, that somebody else did it and wasn't aware that it existed.
Well, it seems kind of suspicious to me that the other income was not disclosed. So there's a question mark there now. Besides, we were just trying to get her that damaged part of where the swamp cooler was repaired, and she insisted on the rest of the roof. If the rest of the roof wasn't required, that was the reason we agendized it again. Now you're disclosing there is other income, and so I don't know whether by that's part of HUD. I don't know if we is it part of HUD or
yes.
If we're violating the that grant by granting it. The other issue was that she bought the home as is. She knew how much damage the house had or the mobile home had, and I don't know who sold her there, but I know there's only one real estate agent in that mobile home park that sells mobile homes. So that person should have told her of how much damage there was in that mobile home, and most likely she got it at a pretty good discount. So what we were trying to do, we were trying to help her fix that hole, that leak where the swamp cooler is, but now there was another can of worms that opened up, so there's a big question there, and I don't know what to think about that.
I'd like to have the applicant, can you speak to the things that were just said? Yeah.
My name is Rose Aiken, and yes, I am the one that has purchased that mobile home. I purchased the mobile home from the existing family because the person that was living in there has deceased. I paid them cash for the mobile home, not through any realtors or anything like that. I knew the existing condition of the coach because I have looked at it prior to paying for it. But all I was trying to do was to get a roof repaired, not just to repair, but to fix it so it would last me at least 5 years or better, instead of waiting for part of it to be fixed and then wait a year to do it all over again, which would be a waste of the money that I'm putting into it to begin with. I'm trying to put money into this mobile home to make it worth living in for the rest of my life. And so far, all I'm getting is piecework on one part, another part, not concentrating on the one major part that caused all of this, which is the roof. But so far, all I'm hearing is, you want to fix this part, this part, this part. Why not fix the main problem that was existing to start with, and that was the roof? And all I asked was for the entire roof to be done, so this way I would never have to worry about that problem again. But so far, all I'm getting is, well, we'll fix the floor, we'll fix the hot water heater. And you're getting estimates from every of these people, and they're making up into 3 or 4 different estimates. Each one is a different estimate for each part of that job. One was for the hot water heater. Another one was for the floor, the ceiling of the bathroom, which I already stated from the start that any of the interior of that mobile home, I will address myself. I don't need anybody else to do that. All I asked for is to put the grant towards what would give me the best benefit of that mobile home. And that was to redo the roof. And all I'm getting is piecework. If that leak or if that roof goes out within 1 year, I'm back at putting another $3,000 into the roof again to repair the whole entire roof, not just one leak, because there is no warranty on a repair job. There is at least a warranty on a complete roof of materials, but not of workmanship. That relies on the person that's doing the job. And as to the other question about the fact of the website was set up a little over a year ago. I was trying to see if I could create some kind of a business out of it. Yes, I did. But it failed. It did not give me nothing in return. So I've had the website completely erased from the system. So there is no longer anything in there with my name on it. Because I could not make nothing of it, so I was never able to purchase a business license or any kind of federal point of where I had to pay taxes. I've been put on state disability because of physical problems, and I'm doing these works on my own. I'm doing things for friends that I help with, but I don't make no money back that's going to create any kind of income to show that I've paid for more work than I'm doing. So I'm not trying to make an issue of what one point of it is, but I would like the roof to be repaired completely, not patched. Patching is only a temporary repair. And I don't care what part of a mobile home or a house you do. If you're patching it, it's only temporary. It does not last more than a year if you're lucky.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Colombo, could you repeat one more time what those bids were?
Let's see, we have one for $2,946 from Mobile Remodelers. That includes the roof repair by the swamp cooler area. It says home has original galvanized roof. Some repairs have been done to it. Looks in good condition. Seal rest of the roof with roof coating. Eliminate swamp cooler. Subfloor repair and water heater compartment. Remove ceiling and hallway. Install new 5/8 drywall textured paint. That was $29.46. We have one from Boyd Construction. Appears to do the same thing for $4,495. That includes repairing the roof, applying the roof coating, and replacing the hot water heater. In this case, they wanted to replace the hot water heater as well because they were saying that that wasn't to code. I've gotten different stories on that, but but once they touch it, they're going to want to bring it all up to code. And then we have one from Professional Mobile Remodeling. This one's very inclusive. They've gone out of their way to basically rehab the entire coach in terms of ceiling damage. The ceiling damage alone is $3,610. The re-roof was $3,000. A brand new roof, or actually a re-roof, which would be a new roof, would be $3,000. To re-roof it, to repair it, would be $2,200, and the water heater is $750. So this one here is definitely overbid. So the low bidder is $2,946 from Mobile Remodelers.
Okay.
And that was just to repair the area that's damaged on the roof?
This is to repair the roof by the swamp cooler area, which is the area that we're talking about. It's about a 10 by 12 section. They make a note that the roof is in good condition. They made a note to seal the roof with roof coating, eliminate the swamp cooler, subfloor repair and water heater compartment. remove the ceiling, remove ceiling in the hallway. There's some damage in the hallway there. I mean, the unit's in really bad shape. This is not going to give the applicant a brand-new coach. This unit is borderline, almost being pulled out of the park if we don't do all these repairs. There's a lot of repairs that needs to be done in this mobile home. This is just some of it. Even after all this is done, you still have to have flooring. You got to put in all the flooring, carpet, linoleum, whatever the case may be. There may be damage to the bathroom, which this unit, coincidentally, have been rehabbed twice in the past by our program. So this would be the third assistance. The prior 2 times were done under a different applicant as the units change over time. So in this particular case, this unit would be receiving its third assistance. The last time I believe it was kitchen related, and another time was bathroom related. But I've looked at the unit, I've inspected it, and this unit is in terrible shape, and it needs a lot of work. But what's of emergency here is obviously the leaking roof, because you have holes there, you have a swamp cooler that's in disrepair. We've seen water stains everywhere throughout the property, throughout the unit. Not necessarily may have been caused by the swamp cooler. So it needs a lot of work. In reference to the website, we know that website is still active. We've actually called and scheduled an appointment through our building department. So we know that she is still taking in phone calls. However, it is a council decision as to whether or not to continue. I don't have any proof either way or the other of how much the additional income is being generated. Maybe nothing, maybe something.
Okay.
And you say you're still not the owner of that mobile home?
I am the owner of it. The only thing that is being held up is the registration of the vehicle or of the mobile home, because I went down, I put down a $150 deposit on the registration fees. I have another $300 and some odd dollars worth to pay off, which puts the mobile home in my name, which it is now because I've already put money down on it.
If the council does consider awarding any type of financial assistance, staff is going to require, because of the program requirements, that the unit be entirely in the applicant's name, which means they would have to pay off Arlene Witt or whoever's on there.
It is paid off at this moment. If you wanted to dispute the whole thing, then just drop the whole grant. Let it ride until the $5,000 grant will come through to me, because the way it's going, I can do the repairs myself. I don't need a contractor. I don't need the headache that I'm getting from this, because all I'm trying to do is get something so I can live without a trouble. And so far, all I'm getting is trouble. All I'm getting is an argument because somebody's trying to say one thing about it, another thing about it. And like I said again, the website is no longer in existence. I never made a dime out of that website. I will keep saying that again and again, because it did not make me nothing, and I have not got nothing from it. It is no longer in existence. If you want to check it in the computer now, it should be gone, because the person that put it in for me took it out. I have no other income other than Social Security disability and a VA pension, which is barely making me enough to maintain the mobile home park's status for what they require for me to live there.
Okay. Under the circumstances, because this is a grant for emergency purposes, I'd recommend that we go ahead and do approve the lowest bid for the work.
I don't want them to do the flooring. I don't want them to touch any part other than the roof. I did not ask for the flooring to be done. Your people came in, started snapping pictures of everything and saying how bad this place is. It had stinking carpet. I cleaned it out to get it to where it is. All I'm trying to do is make it so I can live in it. And I will make it where it is livable by myself. I don't need a contractor to do the work on the interior. Put a floor in it. Put a new floor on top of that messed up floor that's in there. I intend to do that myself. I don't intend to have somebody do it for me because I can't afford it. If I could afford it, I wouldn't have been here to begin with. I would have never asked for the grant. Like I said, if it's going to be that much of a problem to do this grant, to get the roof repaired completely, then drop the whole thing. Let it go until the $5,000 grant comes through, and I'll have the whole roof done at one time. Then it will be done the way I want it to be done. Because in a year's time, it's not going to hold up. I will back to problems, and you won't repair another thing of it because of the fact if the floor gets damaged, brand new floor I put in, and it rains, and that water comes in. Then what do? I'm back at having to repair it again. You're not going to pay for it. $2,000 won't repair it. So where do I stand? With nothing. And I've been with nothing all my life, and I'm trying to maintain a home for myself. Thank you for your help, because if that's the way it is, I will leave.
Well, I think you should accept the assistance we're offering.
It's not offering me much other than what I'm already able to do.
Well, according to our guidelines, we only repair what needs to be repaired.
And that's what
And
I've
that's
asked
why-
for, was to repair the roof, not to repair
But
anything
the damage
else.
part of the roof.
We need a break. We need to take a break for them to, technical problem here. We have to take a short break, and then we'll continue. Okay, we can reconvene the meeting. I think Mr. Rodriguez had the floor.
Well, my suggestion is that due to our guidelines, we are required to fix what's damaged, and I would have to stand by that. That we fix the damaged area and whatever else that needs to be fixed inside, whatever money there's left, if there's any. According to what was the lowest was $29.46, and that was to repair the roof and some of the items inside the mobile home. So we have to abide by the guidelines that we have made and the guidelines that HUD has made. This is government money. That's it.
Okay, well, that's what I just said, so I guess we'll make that in a motion. And then going back, I just want to tell you, we have to do what the guidelines say, but you can look at this as paying for part of what you need to do, and then, as you said, there's much more needed than what the $3,000 can cover. So at least we're helping. We're giving you assistance to get a start, and then you can work on the rest of it as you can. So I'll make a motion to approve the low bid for $29,000, whatever it was.
Well, we're not sure if she wants to accept that or not.
Well, she can decide, on her own, whether she wants to or not.
Mr. Mayor, also, as indicated previously, we need to make sure that the registered owner is actually the applicant. So
Correct.
as soon as that's verified, then we will dispense.
I gave you paperwork showing that I have had the transfer paperwork in my hands. You have it, copies of it.
Well, once it's verified, then it can go forward. So I made a motion. Do we have a second? Or
I don't think it was a very fair motion. I think you're not doing it quite the way it should be done, because I think it's unfair, because you're allowing me this money, which I understand, and it's supposed to be designated to whatever repairs is needed for that mobile home to have a safe place to live. In my opinion, the safest point to put that money at is the roof, because I can, like I said, begin with, the flooring, the interior, any of that is in my hands. I know what I bought. I know I opened up a can of worms. Yes, I know I did. Because I bought myself something that needs work. But to put part of it just in pieces here, here, and here, to me, is only a part of one can of worms. It's not covering all of it. And I didn't ask for all of it. I only asked for one specific thing. and all I'm getting is pushed to one point that you want to put it to the lowest bid. Well, if that's the case, then get the lowest bid on doing the whole entire roof, not just a piece of it. Because that's all you're getting is these people are coming in and giving you bids on every little detail thing that they're picking at. And they're picking at everything they can, which in my opinion is wrong, because I didn't ask for you to pick at it. I asked you to do one thing, and that was it. And all I'm getting is a runaround, and I still say you can take the $3,000 and let it just sit back in the hole. And when the $5,000 grant comes around, then I will take it. Because I don't see why I should have to go through doing a piece of it when I need the whole thing repaired. One thing. And that's all I asked for. One thing. And all I got was everybody taking pictures and pointing at every little thing that is wrong. Yes, I did say something about the hot water heater, because I just said it because of the fact of the condition it is in. And then I had somebody else in your little group here, oh, well, it doesn't have this cover. It can't go back in. It's not a proper one for this mobile home. It has to be a mobile home hot water heater, which I don't understand. What's the difference between a hot water heater that's 35 gallons from a house to a mobile home? It still does the same job. It's still designed to work on natural gas, not propane. So if you want to take it that way, then I will take and do my own work. I don't need your help for that point of it. I will do it myself.
In the application that was submitted by the applicant dated 3/23/11, the applicant indicated they wanted to, it's attached in your staff report, repair roof and floor. That's what we're
No,
doing.
I never asked for you to repair the floor. Your people came in and said, well, the floor needs to be repaired. This
It's
because
on
there was holes in it.
page
But the floor
169,
has been repaired.
section 6.
You didn't take pictures of the floor that's been repaired, did you?
I'm sorry for the way you feel, but unfortunately, I mean, for your case, we do have to go by the recommendations of the inspectors. They are the professionals who know what needs to be done.
Well, if they're that good, then they should do their job better. Because if I did the type of job that they're doing, I wouldn't have been in the RV industry for over 35 years. I'd have been out of it long before that. If I didn't do my work right, I got in trouble. If they can't do their judgment right or look at it right and say, okay, because you had more than one person and I asked more than one of those three of that roof condition, it's rusting. It needs to be recoated, but that would only be a temporary thing again. Coating is only temporary. It's not a permanent repair. Patching of hole is not a permanent repair. I want to be able to live in that coach for the rest of my life, and I don't look like I'm going to, because you're not allowing it to be done the way I think it should be done, because it's my opinion of it. No, I'm having to go by other people's opinion of how they think it should be done. So that's like I said, take the $3,000 grant, put it back in the pocket, because I'm not going to bite on it, because I want it done right, not half-ass.
Okay? Okay, that's your choice, so.
I know it's my choice.
If that's what you want, then that's,
Because I have a $5,000 grant supposedly coming to me what time it takes, I don't know. Because nobody's ever told me. I was offered this by somebody who said, come down and ask for it. Well, I did, and I got what I got, a handful of worms. And nobody's given me any justification or showing me any direction of what they could do to really, really, truthfully help me with. Because you're not doing it. All you're doing is biting between each other how you want to spend the money. Well, I'm asking how to spend the money the right way, not the wrong way. And $2,900 and something, that's not very much off of $3,000, is it? That's what, $100 less? And you're going to argue over $100 when I hear you sitting here arguing over $20,000? So where's the difference? You call it. I'm gone. Goodbye.
All right. Okay. I guess we'll move on.
So how do we address this issue then?
He doesn't want the grant.
Yeah, so,
Decline the grant.
so she declined the grant. There really is no action for the council anymore.
I think we have to say this to the public that might apply for a grant at any time. There are certain grant requirements. We have to be within those requirements. We can't just helter-skelter, do whatever the person wants. If we did that, then it would, what's a guideline for? And the nature of an emergency is not to fix something permanently. The nature of an emergency is to take care of a problem immediately that is causing a health hazard or causing some sort of a problem, so that we can rescue the person from that particular problem. It's not an emergency is not always a permanent fix. Usually, it's not really. It's usually something that patches a hole. It's something that repairs a floor or repairs a pipe, so that they can go on living. I think the city is very generous to be able to have a grant to offer it all in case of an emergency. And like I said, all cities don't do this. And then when somebody stands there and says, this is what I want and I want it my way, or you guys are mean and awful, then what can you do? We have to stick by our grant, our guidelines. And I think this is a perfect example of that. Now, I do have one question, Joe, because this is something that I haven't yet seen personally, but it's something that Ray and I requested quite a while ago, that on every brochure, on every application for a grant, it should have a mark on there, a statement on there that says that applying for this grant will open up your home to code enforcement requirements. Okay, you've told me that. I haven't really seen it myself.
And this is not a code enforcement issue. This is simply a grant that they had requested on an emergency basis.
But she requested a grant. You went in to look at the damage that was done, and you realized there's a water heater problem, there's other problems, which are code enforcement violations, are they not?
Well, we don't enforce codes in the mobile home park. We're not the enforcing authority in the mobile home park. The state is.
Okay. So this had nothing to do with inspectors coming in and saying, hey, this is wrong too, this is wrong too, this is wrong too?
This was about trying to give money, financial assistance, and trying to get the best out of the dollar and maximize the $3,000 that they're eligible for. It's just that, in my opinion, this mobile home coach is in very, very terrible shape. I mean, I could show you slides, and we'd probably about 50 slides here, but...
Well, when you said it's on its third assistance, I mean, yeah. So
this is not a code enforcement issue at all. We don't enforce codes in the mobile home park. The building codes, those are done by the state.
Okay. So this was strictly us going in to say, look, this is an emergency situation. Let's see what we can fix to make this the most livable right now in this situation.
We were trying to give the applicant free money.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And going back to that, since you said that this is the codes are enforced by the state. Now, our inspectors come in there. Are they educated on the mobile park structures?
Yes.
Okay. I want to make that clear. But the work is done by mobile home repair companies, not by general contractors.
It's the same. The reason why we have the building inspector go out there, because as you know, who does the actual day-to-day operation of the program? They're not going to climb on the ladder and climb on top of the roof. That needs to be done by our building inspector to confirm for us, who has the expertise, who has the ICBO certification, to warrant whether or not the roof needs to be replaced, or are they just looking for a new roof? As you know, the committee sits on this committee, and many times people ask for things just because they can, and many times it's not warranted. So because our building inspector has the ability to be able to climb roofs, climb the ladder, climb heights, we utilize the building inspector to do that rather than our administrative assistant.
All right, thank you.
Joe, I have a question. You know, when the concern was the swamp cooler.
Yes.
Now that she's denied this grant, then she will have to take care of the swamp cooler. I mean,
She is on her own in this unit. This is her unit, allegedly. We have nothing to do with it except acting as like a bank. We were attempting to give her free money on an emergency basis to stabilize the condition of that motorhome. It's in disrepair, and not just because of the swamp cooler. That unit is in need of substantial amount of money to repair, and that's the reason why she bought it for $5,000.
You mean the mobile home itself costs $5,000?
She bought that unit for $5,000. So it needs a lot of flooring. It needs a lot of subflooring. It needs all new flooring. It may need a new kitchen, a new bathroom. It just needs a lot of work.
Apparently, somebody gave her some advice. I guess when she bought the mobile home, that the city was going to do all those repairs. I think that's where somebody gave her that advice, but they didn't give her the full information on how grants are issued.
No, we had an applicant approach our department. We act immediately. It's an emergency. We take those serious. We have to get bids. It's a federal program, but you have to be low income. So that's more or less what happened.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to item E, new business. There's none. Item F, closed session. We have none. Item G, oral staff reports.
Yes, staff would like to invite the community to Leeward Pool this Memorial Day weekend, Saturday through Monday, May 28th through May 30th. The pool will be open for a free recreation swim from 12 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. over the 3-day weekend.
Okay, is that it for staff reports? Okay, oral council reports.
I have one disturbing report here. Mayor and council members, just when I was thinking that we're getting along here in the city council, is it on? This flyer came about. This flyer came about, and it says the City of Hawaiian Gardens' first annual Memorial Day event. And sponsored by the VFW. And then we have the date, which is Monday the 30th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Hawaiian Gardens City Hall. Now, the way this is written, it seems like this is a city function here. But yet you have two members of our city council pictures at the bottom, which is Mayor Mike Gomez and Mr. Councilmember Mr. Farfan. Why was I not notified of this? This has been kept for a secret for probably over 2 months. And nobody ever said anything. It looks like the city is sponsoring it, the way this thing is written. And if that's the way it looks like, then all of us should have had our picture in this poster. We've been trying to work with you guys because of certain groups that we have here are always saying that we're against everybody here, Councilmember Bruce and myself. And even though we have many issues, the mobile home park issue, where there was a meeting also, and we were not invited. And when we did go, because all the council members were there, we got kicked out of the mobile home park, which was a little fiasco, but that was okay. And things like the same 3 council members are always voting themselves as mayor and mayor pro tem, excluding myself and council member Bruce. Okay, that's okay too. But I'm upset about this. I'm very upset about this because this looks like Councilmember Bruce and myself are not patriotic, that we're not involved with this. And then it says the first annual Memorial Day event, the City of Hawaiian Gardens. So to me, that's City of Hawaiian Gardens is sponsoring this event, what it looks like. Why was the rest of us not notified about this event? You approached the VFW commander 2 months ago. So this has been in the works for 2 months. And they agreed to have an event. Mr. Gomez, you were the one that wanted to have veterans, the sheriffs, and the firefighters on one single memorial at the library. You were ready to approve it. I said no, the veterans memorial should be separated and it should be approved by the veterans. I was the one that got the veterans from the VFW. I was the one that got the veterans from the community to have meetings, to form a committee and have meetings and decide what the memorial should be, what should it look like, and where it should be. And they did. They made a decision to put the Veterans Memorial here in front of the flagpole. You are a veteran. I am a veteran. My brother, my son, and many friends, including some who are listed here at the bronze plaque at City Hall here, who gave up their lives in Vietnam. So why did you try to railroad us with this event not including us? It kind of upsets me. I have a statement that you made on a city council meeting dated February the 8th. This came about when Ms. Cora Carrera asked about the veterans, what was the status? And I replied my reply was that when it comes to Veterans Memorial Day, we were not getting much support, and then that I continued that the veterans from World War II were dying every day, and that most of these veterans were now in the 80s, and they're also veterans in the Far East, Iraq, Afghanistan, who were dying every day. So I was also in favor of what Cora was asking, Cora Cabrera, because her her brothers were all veterans. One a veteran of the Korean War, and one was a veteran of the Vietnam War. And I made some statement that we were not getting support from the city on the Veterans Memorial, even though we already had approved the concept. I was the one that seeked out the engineer who drew the concepts, and the veterans liked it and they approved it. Now, you made a statement here that got me upset also. You stated that he says, he used to mention in the yes, we do need, there are many veterans dying, but that the money should be going to veterans benefits. That a statue at a veterans memorial would be just a statue, and I said, well, that statue signifies all our veterans that died in action, missing in action, the ones that are still living here, the ones that are still living in this world, and of course all the veterans that are still fighting the wars in Afghanistan and Pakistan and Iraq. But the comment when you say, well, the Veterans Memorial is just a statue, that disturbed me a lot. So, to end this moment of anger, all I can say is that all the veterans in this community, members of the VFW, and residents know where I stand on this issue, and I don't have to have my picture on a flyer or poster. And again, we are going to have a Veterans Memorial. We have already approved some of the funds, and we might not have it done this year, but hopefully by next year we should be celebrating Veterans Day and Memorial Day out here with our new Veterans Memorial. Thank you.
I was also pretty disgusted by the flyer. And Mr. Rodriguez or myself are not on here, but neither is Michi Canada, and I would think that you would be upset as well, especially since your husband has served in the militaries.
I didn't even see the flyer.
Oh, there it is. The problem that I have with it, Mike, is it is a gross display of using a day where we're to honor servicemen who have given their life's blood as a political flower in your hat, and it's disgusting. It's interesting for me to see that the incumbents who are up for re-election have their faces plastered on this thing, that this has been something that has been planned for 2 months without the rest of the council even knowing about it. What also bothers me is that you're the mayor of the city of Hawaiian Gardens. And as a mayor of the city of Hawaiian Gardens, your first order of business should be to make sure that this city is doing what it's supposed to do. And in this regards, the city should have had a Memorial Day event for years and years and years, but this is the first Memorial Day event. As the mayor, you should have said, gee, we don't have a Memorial Day event. We need to get this to staff immediately. We need to have staff take care of this and make this a city event. But you didn't make it a city event. You made it a Victor and Mike event. And you're using it to promote yourselves for your election, and it's obvious. And you've excluded the rest of council. You have done a very poor job of being a mayor in this regards. Now, here's the thing that really bothers me. What action here was taken by council to give you the authority to act in the city's capacity? Can we just helter-skelter go anywhere we want and say, hey, I'm the mayor of Hawaiian Gardens and this is my show? You can't unilaterally just decide what you're going to do, especially when you're represented here as Mayor Mike Gomez, Council Member Victor Farfan. You are acting in the capacity of representing a city, and you are excluding the rest of City Council. Not only that, but you're putting together a program that council isn't even aware of. I was informed of this program just like any other person in the public. And I resent that. That's a slap in my face, and I think, well, it's a slap in Michi's face, in Ray's face. What makes you more important than the rest of us councilmen, council people? Who are you to just go 2 months in advance to the VFW and say, hey, we want to put on this event? Now, what really also bothers me about this is after the Veterans Day event that I attended, that all of us council members attended, I was a bit disappointed with that program. I was disappointed in staff, and I made that clear to our city manager. I made it clear to Steve, and I made it clear to Juan Serrano. I was upset that we didn't have the proper flags. As a city, we should have had every flag. Brand new, clean-looking flags that represented each branch of the military. I said, this is terrible. We should have had stands that could hold up in a strong wind so that none of those flags would be disgraced by falling under the ground. We should have had a new American flag. We had a skimpy, little, dirty American flag flying on our mast. I said, this is ridiculous. You could not hear the speakers from the lectern because the speakers were so bad, the equipment. So I suggested we get a new lectern, that we get a small stage, that we get flags, that we get stands, that we do it right, and that at any time that there is an opportunity in the city of Hawaiian Gardens to be patriotic and to appreciate our service people, that we should do so, and we should do so with our all, because they gave us their all. And I have been disappointed. I suggested also to you three that we should not be satisfied with just some speaker and some short little memorial, that we should have someone sing, that we should have a choir, that we should have a band, that it should be something spectacular because those people have given us so much. I was agreed upon by all three of you. And from what I understand, you went out and bought a lot of those things. And I imagine a lot of those things will be used at this Memorial Day event. Well, isn't that something? And I don't even know about it until I get a flyer with Mayor Gomez and Council Member Victor Farfan's face on it. We are not celebrating Victor Farfan and Mayor Mike Gomez. That is not what this event should be about. Now, I love our service people. I love the people who have given for this country. And I really resent this being used as an opportunity for self-promotion. This is like promoting yourself at somebody's funeral. It's disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself, and so should Victor, and I wish he was here so I could tell him that. I don't know what you have to say for yourself, but I am very offended. And I think the VFW should be very offended as well.
I think we ought to be outlaw texting while we're having a meeting.
Well, it's her turn. It's her turn to...
But don't you think we should have the courtesy to
I'm listening.
pay attention?
Yeah,
instead of texting?
you know, we do have a cell phone rule for the public that says do not have your cell phone and turn it off. And I've seen that cell phone on many times in meetings, to the point where it's even interfering with our microphones. And I think it's time to turn it off, Mike. Matter of fact, mine's turned off every time before the meeting starts. This is a you moment, Mike. This is a time for you to explain yourself, not a time to ask somebody to please text me some information. What should I say? That's how it appears anyway. This is blatant. This is stabbing your counsel in the back. This is self-promotion. This is an obvious ploy for electoral points. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Okay, do you have anything to add before I speak?
I want to change the subject.
Okay.
It's not changing.
Go ahead.
No, because, I mean, you can reply to, but I just want to mention that I had gone to the Golden Age Tariada on Saturday. It was a very good event. There were a lot of people there. Mariachis were excellent. I also want to make a comment that I would like to close our council meeting in memory of Joji Kamimura. I had met this young gentleman last year at the community gardens event, and he was around my son's age. There are not too many Japanese that live in Hawaiian Gardens that I know of. And he asked me at the time when I met him, how did a Japanese person become a council member in a predominantly Latino neighborhood? I told him I had been living here for quite a while, and the main concern is that I ran for election for the community, and that's why I was here. I found out they had passed away this weekend, and it really touched me. He was around my son's age, and I know he has a little girl. So I'd like to close this meeting in memory of Joji Kamimura.
Thank you, Ichi. Well, I guess I have some talking to do. Let me just first say, let me thank those two council members for bringing the flyers to our attention. Yes, we had a committee member who was responsible for making the flyers, and unfortunately, he did put the City of Hawaiian Gardens on it. He was not aware, that it would be an issue to put that on there. His thinking was that we're doing it in the City of Hawaiian Gardens. So when it was brought to our attention, I did talk to him. I had the flyer changed. Now it just says First Annual Memorial Day Celebration. Doesn't say City of Hawaiian Gardens on it. So it's again, he was wrong. I told him he was wrong. He corrected it, and that's what the program is. Now, the question is, why are we doing this event? I think each of us come up to bring to the table things that we are focused on, reasons that we wanted to be here in the first place. Obviously, for Councilmember Bruce, his purpose was issues involving the gang injunction when he first came on. Mr. Rodriguez, of course, it has to do with expending money, expenditures. I think, personally, for me, my involvement in programs like the mentoring program, our public safety recognition night, that we've had 2 in a row now, sponsored, paid for by the community members, not the city. These two gentlemen never bothered to attend, by the way. We had last summer we did a Unity Festival, again, sponsored by some of the churches in the community, the restaurants in the community provide free food. We had churches provide entertainment. The pancake breakfast that was last month. Yes, I have a committee working with me, who have supported Victor and I, and we constantly are thinking of things we can do in the community to make things better. One of the things was we looked at the issue with finances and how a lot of our nonprofit sports organizations have struggled finding support. So I have to give Victor credit. It was his idea. Why don't we do a pancake breakfast and give the money to the leagues? So we contacted the presidents of the 3 leagues and asked them, we told them that we were going to do this pancake breakfast, and we wanted to give them the money, and all we would ask is they sell tickets and so the money would be made. We would pay expenses and give them the balance. Through the course of the meeting, they decided they wanted to be a little more active, and yes, they did help us with. They ended up paying for some of the items the supplies that were needed. We received a donation of 150 pounds of sausage from Farmer John Meat Company, and again, they sold about $1,500 worth of tickets. The money went to them, not to us, not to me, not to Victor, not to our campaign committee. So it went to the sports organizations. And of course, as years that I spent as a board member on the Little League baseball program, I think.
What does this have to do with the issue at hand?
I did not interrupt you. So
What
don't
does
interrupt
this
me.
politicking have to do
I
with
did
the
interrupt
issue
you.
at hand?
I did interrupt you
Mr.
by your
Mayor,
politic.
we ask you a question about
Okay.
protocol.
Let me speak
We ask
and I'll
you
tell
a
you.
question about what gives you the right to
Let me-
act in
let
your
me
official
speak and I'll tell you.
capacity without
It is not-
consulting the rest of the council.
You're out of order.
Really? I'm
You're
serious.
out of
I think
order.
you're out of order.
No.
I really
We're
do.
gonna-
You're politicking.
We're
You're
going to
just
take
giving a list of all of
2-minute
your
break
wondrous
so this guy can get
deeds.
calm down so that the person who has the floor
No.
can speak. That's the way we do
We
it here,
don't-
Mr. Bruce.
we didn't
Whoever
ask the
has the floor
question.
is allowed to speak uninterrupted.
What, forever?
You don't try to bully.
About all of your amazing attributes?
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you've never talked about your amazing attributes.
No.
Oh, no, never. No.
I asked
The
you the
person who has the
question
floor is allowed
about
to
why
speak, and
wasn't the rest of the council
I'm
informed
going to
about
answer
this?
that.
Well,
The person
please
who has
get
the
to
floor
it.
is allowed to speak uninterrupted.
Please get to the
yeah.
question at hand. That's what we're interested in hearing.
Say, you can speak for 20 minutes, and nobody interrupts you. But Lord forbid I speak for more than a minute and a half. Now, you got to give everybody the respect that they give you. Now, as I was saying, it's very clear that my focus on the council has been on volunteerism. And my feeling has always been that we can make a better community by getting people to volunteer. And we can do these kinds of programs without having to spend the city money, that the people who volunteer will feel much better about themselves for a job well done, and we'll just build a better community. So that's why I involved myself in this type of effort. Again, there was a mistake made by the person who created the flyer to put the City of Hawaiian Gardens on it. Okay, we admit that. That has been corrected. As to why these two council members were not part of the process.
She was excluded too.
No, she wasn't excluded. She knew about it. The problem is, the reason is.
And why wasn't her picture on there?
I'm speaking. The reason is just what we're hearing, what we're saying now. From day one, they've done nothing but criticize and call us names and try to belittle us. And so, how do you work with people like that who are constantly, attacking you? You can't. So, what we've done for the last 2 years is go about our business. We do the city business, and then Victor and I work on things together. And we try to do the best we can to help the community. So, you were sent an email with the flyer to invite you. That's like everybody, like we try to do to the rest of the community. But
Yeah, like the public.
Yes.
We're not the public.
well, this is not
We're
a
city council members.
This is
Like-
not a city project. The city does not put any money into it. They did not. All we did, we went to the VFW and asked them if they wanted to participate in this program, and that with them, we came down and filed a facilities use agreement form, and we had meetings at their facilities, Victor and I, with members of our community, and we planned this event. And we just felt that it was something that was needed in our community. There was an attempt to act as if you didn't care about Veterans Day, but with this animosity that's obviously here, how can we say, come on guys, let's hold hands and do this together? It's very tough. So
This is what builds animosity.
Yeah.
This kind of an action that you have done since we've come into city council. It's happened from the beginning.
Well, it happened from the beginning because of the attitude that you had when you came in. But that's beside the point. The fact is, all we're trying to do is create a Memorial Day celebration in the community using volunteers. Now, if you don't feel like that we need a Memorial Day celebration, that's on you.
That's not what I said.
But we're
And you
trying-
know that's
we're-
not what I
we're-
said.
We're trying.
You're turning it around again to make
we're
yourself
trying to
look
create
good.
something that the community can be proud of.
What I said was
And
that this should have
hopefully,
been
the next year, the
an
city will-
organized program that included
Yeah.
all of council because it's something the city should be doing.
Well, once again, Mr. Bruce does not give anybody the respect that he wants for himself, and that's part of the whole issue. And I think this is really a side to anything that's going on. The whole issue is that Mr. Bruce does not like that Victor and I are up for re-election. He wants to replace us. So that's all it's about. So he wants to find anything to belittle us, and obviously this is what he's picked on. But that's the way it is. I'm not gonna apologize for putting this program together. I think it's it can be a great program. It's going to be our first attempt. It may not be, the big program that we would hope it could go to someday, but hopefully it's something that at least we bring out and the city can take over and in the future have bigger programs. I think the problem is for Mr. Bruce and Mr. Rodriguez is, as I stated, public safety recognition, Unity Festival Pancake Breakfast, these are things that Victor and I have been doing in the community. They haven't done anything but criticize us. So how are we, I can't worry about that. I have to go forward with the things that I think is going to help the community, and that's what I do.
Well, I think if you ask the community, they wouldn't say that I haven't done anything for the community. I think they would say I've done quite a bit. But that's your interpretation.
Okay, that's my interpretation. Now, let
Mike,
me go back to what
Mike,
Mr. Rodriguez said.
I am for a Memorial Day event. I just think that the city of Hawaiian Gardens should have a Memorial Day event, not Mike and Victor. It's something that our city should be ashamed of that we've never done until now, and still the city hasn't done it. It is a Mike and Victor thing, planned not as part of the city, not with city staff, but on your own. You're the mayor, you represent the city. This should have been done with staff. It should have been done properly. It should have been done with recognition of all the council because we all are for our veterans. The program itself is a great idea. The way it was put together is self-promoting and wrong. Now, you said that this isn't a city event, so I will expect that there will be absolutely no money from the city put into it, right? It's all your money and Victor's money.
It's our committee's money, yes.
Okay, so your committee is
our group of
sponsoring
friends
this
is
whole
sponsoring.
event. It should say on it then, sponsored by your committee. It should say that. It's a committee-sponsored event. It should say that. Secondly, and then I would have probably had not as big a problem with it. The only problem I have with it is it looks like a city event. It sounds like a city event, but it only has 2 city people acting as our spokespeople on the flyer, and it excludes everybody else. I think that's wrong. Now you're saying it's not going to look like a city flyer, but are all of our city flags that we bought going to be involved in it? Is our city sound system going to be involved in it? So this is all...
Well, yes, we are. Just like any community member is allowed to fill out a citizen's request form and pay the fee that everybody needs to pay. That's what we're doing. We've got the insurance that we was requested of us to get. And yes, the city will be assisting in what they would assist anybody as far as just setup of a few tables and chairs and sound system. The city is not, and we will be paying for the employees that are working there.
And is our public relations firm being paid for your written speeches? Because the city shouldn't be paying for that either. If you're going to have someone do speeches for you, then you should pay for that as well. This is your committee doing it, and it should be paid entirely by it. And the lease agreement should look like every lease agreement for every single event that we have here. And Mr. Marquez, I ask you today, how often have we ever leased the area between the flagpole? And you said never. So already we're not doing what we do with everybody else.
No, that could be
It's-
because nobody's made the request before. I mean, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. You
Okay,
just
well,
made a request
I'll
for
give
an
you
area.
that. This should have been, Mr. Mayor, something that you did with the city, not something you did on your own to put a flower in your hat, and that's wrong. In the future, I know Mr. Marquez told me today that there are funds now allocated that he is going to use for Memorial Day events in the future that are done by the city. I think that's probably something that the council has to agree to. But I certainly would like to make that motion that we agree to that now, that from now on, the Memorial Day event or any political type event, or I should say, not political, patriotic event, should be something that the city puts forth and puts city effort and money into, and not an individual. I can't even believe that we have to make that motion. I just thought that was a given. But can we do that? Do we make a motion for that?
Not today.
Not today.
It's noted, but it's not.
Do we need to put
agenda.
this on the agenda then for next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, then let's put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
But you have to understand that we cannot prevent private individuals, organizations for doing something that they would like to do.
My problem, Mike, is that you're acting in your official capacity, and the board, the city council should agree to that. That's just good form. That's all. And as a mayor, you should have good form. And putting together an event of this magnitude for our veterans should definitely be something that the whole city is involved in, and not just something that's done for a political cause. It's just not right.
Well, if there's nothing in place and you wish to put something in place, it's not our fault.
Well, make the city do it. You're the mayor. That's what I'm saying. You should say, hey, city, we don't have a Memorial Day event. We need to make our first one. Council, let's get on board and do this.
Our goal is to put something together and provide emphasis for the city to take over,
Then why are your pictures on there?
because that's part of the program.
Well, Michi's picture isn't on there.
This is done with.
Wasn't she part of the plan, or?
This is done with Councilman, no, Michi does not attend any of the meetings because we don't.
This
want
is for
violations
votes.
of
This is for
Brown Act.
votes.
So that's what it's for. Now, you can complain all you want, I'm sorry. We're just trying to pay tribute to and it's really not the veterans. These are the soldiers who were killed in action. That's what Memorial Day is all about. Most people don't realize that, and that's what we're trying to present to them. A lot of people think Memorial Day is just to remember anyone who's passed away or service members, but it's service members who were killed in action. And so, again, all we're trying to do is to provide something for the community to be proud of. Now, I'm sorry that you weren't part of the planning, but you got it. You got the invitation, the email invitation of the flyer. So you're welcome to come. And
It came on my email. At least we got an invitation to this one. We didn't get one to the mobile home park estate.
yeah, that was
We didn't
not.
get one to
Yeah,
that.
the mobile home thing was not an event that was sponsored by us. It was sponsored by residents of the park. They invited us. It was their decision to not allow you in there, not ours. So, I mean, if you have an issue, your issue was with them. But really, but let me just finally say, in answer to this, again, thank you for bringing this up so I can invite everybody to come out and help us, again, pay tribute to the soldiers who have been killed in action. We have, unfortunately, it's gotten a little ugly up here with the things that are said, and that's not the intent. The intent is really to honor the fallen soldiers.
I hope
of the
so.
city, of the nation, and specifically of the city, and we will. And So that's probably the best thing we can do, is remember what the day is for and pay tribute to those people who are deserving of those.
I think maybe you should find somebody to give you better advice when you do something like this. First of all, when did you change the flyer? Today?
Yesterday, after I was informed that it had the city of Hawaiian
So how
Gardens.
many of these flyers went out already? How many are there throughout the city, if there's any?
I wasn't in charge of flyers, but it wasn't like there was just 10,000 distributors, just maybe a couple hundred made. We have a budget.
So these
So
are
we
throughout the
cannot
city, and
afford
the
to pay.
people that got them, they're still thinking this is a city function.
Well, unfortunately, if somebody has it, we can't
Well,
undo
anyway,
that,
that's-
but we've corrected the problem.
That's over. But I have one more comment. You made a statement about the animosity that me and or Mr. Bruce and I have from the beginning. As you recollect, the first fiasco was you elected yourselves again as city as mayor and vice mayor. Mayor, you just between you and Victor. You had done it before. You did it again. I mean, how are we supposed to sit here and just say, "Oh, well, that's okay"? This is where you build an animosity. That's how you build an animosity. The mobile home park incident, this incident. I mean, this is what builds animosity. I don't never think that I attacked you in any other way. Personally, as far as I'm concerned, like I said, when we get out of here, we're different people. But the animosity started with maybe all of us, not just us. And of course, it also started with the package incident. That was another good episode. I mean, we have gone through a lot of. In fact, I think we were rated number one here in the area here on television for a while. And of course, we have comments from the audience over there, but we're not going to address those. Anyway, so I'm glad we got this out in the air, and I think maybe you should seek some advice whenever you decide to do something like this. But as far as I'm concerned, you've been getting yourself in trouble with a lot of these things you've been doing. You may not realize it, but just get some advice. Thank you. That's all.
Okay. Well, let me also respond to the comment you made earlier about that it was my idea to put the two memorials on the same location at the safety center. It was not my idea. The idea was brought to us to vote on. It was not something that I said, let's do it this way.
You already knew about that, and you was getting ready to vote on it.
We had a project before us to vote on, yes.
And we didn't even know about it. We were not even advised at that time.
At that time, remember, this happened before you got on the city council. The project started, and then just about the time you came on city council is when it came before us to vote, and you made the request to separate them. We didn't object. We said okay, that wasn't an issue. But then you said that you had these. You brought together all these veterans to have meetings. Remember, it was supposed to be a committee do it with you and Victor, and Victor was not told when any of these meetings were had with the veterans. So he was never included in any of those meetings as well. So I could say the same thing about that you're saying about this.
Victor works in the morning, and he didn't have time to get to come down. But we did get the committee going, and the committee was.
And then my
to be
final
okay.
comment. Okay. I just received a note from the city attorney that the memorial isn't on the agenda, so we have to refrain from the city about talking about the memorial projects. So, but I will add that a comment I made about it being a statue was that I was in the text, in the context of, I think we should concentrate as well on the well-being of the veterans that are alive and social needs. Okay, so, anyways, that I think that we went over plenty. Let me just say I want to congratulate Mr. Fedem, the band teacher for the elementary schools, Los Caballeros band for the last 30 years, who retired this year. And last week he had his final concert with the band at Gar High School, and we attended it, and they paid a wonderful tribute to him. So, at that, I'll just go ahead and stop there because. Oh, one other thing, because I think it's important. Last Wednesday, Congresswoman Linda Sanchez sponsored a cyberbullying seminar at Petty Middle School, and I think the message there to the parents that you think you know what your kids are doing, but they are so technically advanced above us that they're getting into sites that they're not mentally able to handle, just not mature enough. So we have to be more vigilant and watching what our kids do, what sites they get onto, because they can put themselves in a position of harm. And obviously there's been worldwide cases of children actually committed suicide because of things, the way they were treated and things that were done to them through the internet. So that was a very good seminar. I think the parents they really woke them up. Okay. Also, I need to report last week, Council Mayor Pro Tem Canada and I attended the Contract Cities annual conference. Just like most conferences, there were some sessions that it's hard to keep awake on, and then there's some that really stood up and stood you up, and it was very worthwhile. There was one by the JPIA, really letting cities know that the JPIA, by the way, that's the insurance agency that insures the cities and protects it from liability, and they just had a lot of information about things we need to be aware of, be it labor issues, be it issues in the community, be it facilities issues, that we have to be more vigilant to make sure we're protecting the interests of the city. And so that was a very good one. Also, they had a legislative panel which had about 6 assembly members and a couple senators, all but one Democrats, and they were questioned heavily by the attending council members because they all voted to do away with the redevelopment agency, and surprisingly, the first time that I saw it, the Republican had voted to keep it, so he was getting the cheers, or all the Democrats were kind of they were kind of let know that that they were not happy with them. They stated they were in favor of redevelopment, but they were not. They being team players, the governor wanted them to vote a certain way, so they did. So people were saying, "Well, if you're in favor, or you shouldn't have voted the way you did." So that was a very interesting back and forth discussions being had, and they also spoke of other issues that they're dealing with. So it's very good. And also, finally, we did. Councilman Canada and I received an invitation on Friday night to go have dinner with Assistant Sheriff Tanaka. I think he's third in command under Sheriff Baca, and he had us about 15 other people there. And it was nice, but they were all sheriff officers, and he basically told them that he appreciated the efforts here in Hawaiian Gardens to work with the Sheriff's Department and provide the best service to the community. And so it was really nice of him to say that, and we appreciate it. So I want to thank him for that. So with that, we'll close this meeting in memory, as Michi requested, of Georgie Kosimoto. Okay? Okay, and now we'll move on to the redevelopment agency. Okay. Public housing. Do I have it here? I may have misplaced mine. Oh, you have it? Okay. Okay. Maybe it's under here. Okay, move on. RDA. Item A, public hearings, none. Item B, consent calendar. Items listed on the consent calendar are considered routine and will be acted by one motion and one vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item may be removed from the consent calendar and will be considered separately. Anybody wish to remove any items from the consent calendar? No. So do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve in its entirety.
Okay. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item C, new business, none. Discussion items, none. Closed session, none. Oral staff reports, none. Oral agency reports. Okay, with no objection, we'll adjourn to the next regular scheduled Community Redevelopment Agency meeting on Tuesday, June 14th.